Hello, DevOps friends. It's me, Jochen, the Monospace Mentor. Welcome to Full Stack Live. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hello, the Lumen. How are you doing? Yeah, thanks for the compliment. I love that keyboard too. It's a Korn keyboard with MX style switches. I'm not sure which switches I have in there. I think they're a few older tactile ones. And yeah, I love that. Yeah, I thought I'd switch to another split keyboard for today. Sorry about starting a little bit late. I was distracted because, even though I was planning to do some infrastructure as code work today, and I guess we'll get to that, I just discovered that I can't log into my own community platform anymore. Thankfully, I have a tab open where I'm already logged in, but trying to log in a separate browser or in a private window does not work anymore. Somehow the single sign-on that it connects my discourse forum with the WordPress website where people have their membership accounts, something in there does not work anymore. And I'm not sure. I hope I'm not banned. I hope I'm not banned. And I guess getting some kind of logs would be helpful. So let me see if I can do that without disclosing too much. Because, of course, if I work in the developer console, I'm going to expose cookies and things like that, which is not optimal. Let me see what we can do here. The Lemon, what do you like about the keyboard? I'm curious. Let me see. How do we do this? I'd like to let you participate without compromising my own security, though. Tiberian, hello, welcome to the stack. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. I just found an issue with the single sign-on for my own community platform. Can't log in anymore. And so I think that needs to have priority over my plans that were doing some infrastructure code. Makes it look like I'm a supervillain. I love that. And yes, of course, having the green and purple backlight on the keys does help too. Working from my lair here, I guess, huh? And your day is actually better. That's great. Happy to see that. Hello, how's your day so far? Did you become more proficient in programming? Well, a good keyboard does make you more proficient in programming. Did you think about that? Yeah, mechanical keyboards are the shit. Now, how to give you insight into what I'm doing without compromising myself. Shit, how do I do this? The browser developer console needs a streamer mode where it hides stuff. Okay, so if there's an issue with that, let me move this tab over here. All right, so I'll use this one over here. And let me try this. Okay. You just rebooted. So you're in NixOS now? Okay, I guess that should work. So let me do this. All right, so the thing that's supposed to happen is if I go to community.monospacementor.com, I should log into my own community, which it doesn't. It redirects me back to the website where the membership accounts are managed for some reason. Let me see. Don't think my access logs will tell me much. They should, however, tell me something. Because if there's no log entry in here, that means I'm getting responses from our content cache, from Varnish. And that would explain why I actually can't log in, because cached content for a login is never a good thing. That is strange, but it is an explanation. Thing is, though, in my developer console, which you can't see, it tells me there is no cache miss. Ah, that's the error log. Wait a second. I need the access logs. Okay, that makes more sense. So let's try this again. Community. There we go. So here's the single sign-on attempt. For which I get an 302. Okay, that doesn't tell us much. Let's keep an eye on the error log then. Okay, varnish isn't the issue. It shouldn't be. I'm sending cookies and all this kinds of stuff, and varnish as a caching proxy will respect that requests and responses that deal with cookies are individual content and are not to be cached. So that's not it. It must be either a bug in the single sign-on plugin or something else. Let's remove all the cookies. So if I reload this, yeah, I'm not logged in. And if I go to community login, it gets me to the login. I can log in. Do I have to click remember me? Is that the trick? No, it's not. It returns me back to the site. If I'm on the home page, what happens if I try and log in from here? Community login? It does redirect me to the community page. Why does it do that? And by the way, I'm not sure why the plan command didn't work earlier, but give it another try. Maybe Stream Elements woke up by now. It'll tell you that I plan to do some infrastructure coding work, but this is of course an issue that I don't want to keep laying around here. I actually wanted to do a little bit of writing on the forum as well, which I can't if I can't log on. I mean, I do have a tab open where I'm already logged in, and I do have a backdoor as the domain administrator or the community administrator anyway, but this is bothering me. I wonder why it chooses to redirect to the community page. That must be something that's in the plugin configuration. Let me check that. I do know that the plugin configuration page exposes the API key and the shared secret for the single sign-on, so I can't show that on screen. Let me see. Discourse URL is community.monospacementor.com. That is correct. Discourse Connect itself doesn't have many settings. Hmm. What else can I do? So there is no setting in the Discourse single sign-on provider plugin that would have this particular page URL. So I actually can't tell why it does redirect here. I mean, it makes sense. But if there's no configuration for it, why does it do it in the first place? I don't even have redirects for this here. Is there an issue with redirects, that something in WordPress does redirects that it shouldn't do? Wait a second. Let's try this again. Community, monospacementor.com. If I do this, I get a redirect to session/SSO. /session/SSO on the community platform, which means yes, it needs to do a single sign-on login check. And if I go there, it then redirects me to the website with an SSO payload. And after I go there, I get a 302 back. That redirects me to the community page. And I wonder why that is. Give me a second to try something. Just a sec. Oops, that didn't work. because of... Okay, this always gives me the 302 back. X redirect by WordPress. This is tedious. Why is it redirecting me to the community page? That's still unsolved, this question. The issue is that I can't use the single sign-on anymore. If I try to log into Discourse, which is using Discourse Connect with my WordPress website to have single sign-on managed by the memberships plugin on my website, the WordPress suddenly redirects me to the community page. So I'm already logged in, which means SSO should go right through, but if I click community login, I don't go to the Discourse forum, and instead I go to the community overview page, to the sign up page. And that is strange. There's no firewall in between though, and it's actually, I mean, I can see from the headers that go back and forth from the HTTP communication between my browser and the website that that's where there's no firewalling or something in the play. And no, it's not where I go if I'm not logged in. If I log out here, that's where I land if I'm not logged in. So if I click community login now, it redirects me to the login. I can log into WordPress, but I don't go to the community page. For some reason, WordPress redirects me to the community overview, and that is strange because I can't see where where this is even set up. It's probably WordPress, but it's hard to pinpoint where the problem actually is. Interesting. The discourse, the WordPress discourse plugin log even tells me that there was a user update for my user account. That is an interesting conundrum. Is the SSO workflow with these callback URLs still correct? I don't know, actually. Yeah, I'm already debugging. The only thing is what keeps me from sharing sharing the most what I do is that all these screens that I'm navigating through tend to disclose API keys and stuff, so I can't actually put those on screen, which makes your experience a little bit worse than it should be. Oh dear. It's all so tedious. So the main thing that is suspicious is that the Loman trying some social engineering here. Nicely done. So what I find weird is that I get redirected here. I mean, I would understand that I get redirected to, say, the login form for some reason, even though I am logged in, it thinks I'm not logged in and then redirects me to the login form, because the login form, of course, is configured in Discourse Connect to be used if someone is not logged in. That makes perfect sense. That I get redirected to the community sign-up page makes sense context-wise, yeah, but Discourse Connect is not configured to know that this page exists. And that's why I wonder what is happening. Does WordPress know what to do? Well, WordPress... It's hard to answer that question because it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. After verifying my login and member status, it should redirect to Discourse, but it doesn't. It redirects here to the membership page. That's the thing that doesn't work. That's the actual problem. But I can't tell why it does that. It seems to check everything, and then as the final step, it doesn't redirect me back to the community where I was coming from, but instead it... The problem is I'm customer support. That's the problem here. The only thing... Is this a problem, that my membership plugin views the website without membership access? Is that it? Did I just trip myself? No, that can't be because, well, it can. Let's see. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, I did not expect this. What did I not expect? I'll show you. My membership plugin has the... I'll have to show you that, so I have to switch scenes. My membership plugin has the feature that I can switch between different modes here, where I can say, okay, show me the website if I don't have membership access, show me the website if I have membership access, or show me the website if I have a specific membership access. So I can actually check if things get displayed correctly. For example, if I say, okay, this particular blog post is only supposed to be shown to silver members, then I can switch my own level to silver member and then check, is that blog post visible or not, and then I can switch off membership access completely without having to log out, and I can also see if I do actually not have access to that blog post anymore if I'm not officially a member. And apparently this also affects how the single sign-on works. I was not aware of that, but yeah, good thing that I thought of that. So if I actually go here and say view without membership access, that means I can't log into my own forum anymore. It also means that everyone else who doesn't even have this switcheroo can of course access the community, because that was what I was mainly worried about, that people now can't log into the community anymore because of some plugin update or a malfunction or something like that. In fact, it was only me accessing things with admin access and taking away my own permissions here with this view my access feature that only I have at my disposal. Okay, TIL. You should have access if, because you are not a paying member, but you are a sponsored member. I would assume that you used your coupon code. So let me see if that's actually the case. Since I have the window already open on the other screen, I can easily check that. Are you a member or not? You are not a member. You're signed up to the website, but you don't have any membership yet. So you need to sign up as a member using the coupon code I gave you. And that then will give you access. For some reason you have a WordPress account, which gets created first thing when you sign up, but you might actually have signed up during a time where I had a bug in my own little plugin that I had to create to get my specific memberships working, and that might have broken your sign-up process. So simply go through the sign-up process again, and that should take care of things. Let me check if your discount code is still there. Do you even have a discount code? Doesn't look like it. I'll get you sorted after the stream. Yeah, you don't seem to have a discount code, so... Or, yeah. I'll send you one. No worries. All right. That's that. That's one issue solved. Now give me a minute to regroup. And then we'll return to our regular scheduled program. Okay. Oh, wrong window. Here we go. Let me close that. Okay. All right, so let's do some infrastructure coding. I'm rubbing my hands because for some reason my left hand is tingling. Trying not to get a heart attack on stream. Let me see. So, here we are in my Chef Cookbooks repository, where we do our infrastructure coding. And by we, I mean mainly Mulol and myself. We are running a small little company specializing in high-performance web hosting for WordPress and Drupal. So, of course, my Monospace Mentor website runs on this platform too. And since we have to manage hundreds of Linux servers, everything is automated. Almost anything, I'd say. 99%. So we use Chef to do our automation. And here I am in a branch that I think can be merged, but I'll have to verify that. What did I do here? Oh, I simply switched to the sync configuration directory so that sync, which is the open source fork of Chef, can work. Chef basically was an earlier example of open source company switching to a non-open license, such as in the similar way as HashiCorp did earlier this year, I think. Yeah, I think it was earlier this year. And so Chef did the same 3 years ago or something like that. And so the open source community did what the open source community does, which is fork the whole repository and create an open source variant of Chef, which is called Sync. Sync is a recursive acronym meaning Sync is not Chef, but of course it is a Chef replacement. And we are in the process of switching to Sync. And so that change that I did was necessary to simply adapt to the few places where Sync is different from Chef. And that's, for example, in the naming of this directory. Credentials and stuff need to be stored in .sync instead of .chef. And so I had to actually adapt our GitLab CI file, where I simply went and defined a chef config.dir variable, and I'm using that in our script where I say, okay, create this config.dir, then copy our chef configuration file and the chef server key that is used for authorization into this directory. And that should actually do everything that's necessary for CI to work again. Let me take a look into the .ci directory here. We only have the chefconfig.rb file here. Does this need to be syncconfig.rb as well? Let's find out. Sync chef. Which one do I have to look at, actually? That's the website, isn't it? Yeah, that's the website. Okay. Distribution. Yeah, distribution. That's it. And in our case, we're talking about the client.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
George, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stack. Let's see. Function, GitLab CI, fork, stable sync, getting started. See the quick start section of our website. Let's do that. Nothing's here. Well, that's just great. Getting started. Client. Maybe I should take a look at Sync Workstation. Fully compatible with Chef Client. Sync uses the .sync workstation folder. All sync configurations are compatible with their chef counterparts. You can simply use a symlink or copy the contents as is. So a config.rb should still work. Oh, it's called config.rb anyway, so there is no chef or sync in the first place. We just prefixed the source file with chef dash, but the target file is just named config.rb, of course. Okay, that derailed me for a minute there. So I think this change is ready to be merged. Question is...
It's a Unix system. I know this.
It's a Unix system, and it's KZ the Axe. Welcome to the stack. Yeah, my question was, why do we even use sync? But yeah, we do, because here in our gem file we install the chef gem and the knife gem from the sync repository and not from Ruby gems, which means we get the sync versions, the forked versions of these. Which means, yep, we are actually ready to merge this. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I already pushed this. Okay. I'm afraid my glab command won't work anymore because my API key has expired. Yeah, I got the email a few days ago. You can either do reauthorization or token refresh. I think I might actually do a reauthorization, so give me a minute to do that in private. How do I do that, actually? Let's do a glab-help. There is an auth, manage glab's authentication state. So let's do an auth-help. I'll just narrate what I'm doing. We can do an auth status, and that'll tell me API call failed, invalid token is expired. Okay, so I probably do another auth login, don't I? Log into gitlab.com. Would you like to sign in over the web? Yeah, let's do this. Wants me to touch my security key. Yes, authorize. You can now close this browser window. Default Git protocol is supposed to be SSH. And we're logged in again. Okay. Can I do my merge request now? I can. So, let's continue in browser. This change creates the .sync directory required for sync to find its configuration. Assign this merge request to me. I guess we don't really need reviewers, but I'll add Moo anyway. Approval rules. Can I reduce the number of requirements? Yep. Infra feature. Can change that after the fact. Create this merge request. Must be rebased because a fast forward merge is not possible. I see. Let's do a rebase without pipeline because there's nothing to test anyway. And let's merge this. We'll see if this has worked next time we make a change that even requires continuous integration. And for the time being, I can check out master, pull my own changes with the other changes that require the rebase, and I can then go and remove my own branch. Is not fully merged. It should be though. Why isn't it fully merged? Oh, because we did a rebase on GitLab side. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that was just a little bit of housekeeping. But it'll help with running my own CI tests when I start doing changes now. Give me just another second while I'll get prepared. Let me see. Okay. And by the way, let's make this interactive. So if you have any questions about the stuff that I'm doing or anything else, then post it to chat. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Alrighty. Now, that's what I'm going to do today. I have an issue here, deploy MySQL exporter to database servers. So I was working on the MySQL exporter for Prometheus, because we want to use the MySQL exporter to monitor our database clusters, and for this to work, I had to build the whole MySQL exporter setup, things like that. And the only thing that's missing is now deploying the MySQL exporter using the chef cookbooks that I built on our actual database server. So I'll assign this issue to me, and let's get to work. So what we're going to do first is to create our own branch for this. I can use my GNB macro or alias git new branch, and I'll call that branch 902-MySQL exporter. 902 is, of course, the issue number. GitLab has this nice feature that if you name a branch with an issue number in front, then it'll automatically associate my changes in this branch with this issue, and that makes the workflow a little bit easier, because it'll automatically create a nice merge request in the end that will then also close the issue number 902 once this merge request has been actually merged. So this is always convenient, and that's why we've made it a habit to prefix our feature branches with the issue number, and that in turn created the habit of creating issues for the different features and changes in the first place, even though they might actually be trivial, and setting up an issue on GitLab might actually be more effort than making the actual change. But it makes the whole process so much more transparent and easy to handle that I think it's a good habit to have. Now, what's necessary for the MySQL exporter to be deployed to our database servers is it needs to be included in our MySQL cookbook, which is called MySQL-Freistyle. Freistyle is the name of our company, Freistyle IT. Freistyle is German for freestyle, and that's how we go about things. And so all that we have to do is basically go into this cookbook, which in chef terminology consists of recipes, of course. I mean, the whole analogy here is pretty nice, but it does make searching for stuff about chef on the web really, really hard, because all you get is actual stuff about cookbooks and kitchen knives and all these kinds of things. So having a metaphor for your application is nice, but on the other hand, it muddles the waters for search quite a lot. I've run out of coffee. This requires an emergency measure. At least I'll have to grab my bottle of water in a few minutes. So, yeah, so chef cookbooks are usually divided by service or something. That's why we have this MySQL cookbook. And actually, we even have a MySQL X cookbook as well. That's the base cookbook that does more generic MySQL stuff. MySQL Freistyle, then with the company name as a suffix, does company-specific stuff, which means...
Get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1.
Oh. It's a Unix system. I know this.
Shari makes art. Thanks for the raid. Hello. That is awesome. Let's defend our channel from Shari and her minions. Defend intrusion detection systems and started Nice one. Mistral trying, but not succeeding. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, They've Wrapped. Thanks for the follow. Good to have all of you. Shari, I hope you had a great stream. What did you do today? I hope you had a lot of fun in your stream. It's very nice and kind of you to come over. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor. This is my live coding channel, Full Stack Live. As the name implies, I do all kinds of full stack stuff, DevOps things. At the moment, I'm doing infrastructure as code. And there is an ad break incoming, and after that, I'll explain everything that I'm doing here. Shari says, got a raid and a run today, but I hope you have a wonderful... Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Yeah, so let's give everyone a few seconds to settle in, and we're going to have an ad break. And after that, I'll catch you up on what's happening here. You know what? In the meantime, I'll go and grab a bottle of water.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Hello again. Gerald, welcome to the stack. Mika Poilan, welcome to the stack too. What kind of infrastructure as code? This is Chef. It's not Terraform. This is Chef. Chef does basically Chef can pick up where Terraform leaves off. Terraform can set up infrastructure for you, like EC2 instances or other cloud instances. But in order to set up the system, to install packages, create configuration files, get everything running that needs to be running, you use something like Chef. And I just remembered, let me see, that wasn't there? What the heck? Ah yes, Indrak earlier wrote, if you just Google Chef Puppet, you do not get tech as the first result. I wonder what the first result is, but I won't dare to check.
It's a Unix system.
Well, Dyra,
This.
welcome to the stack. Thanks for the follow, everyone. Never tried Chef, but sounds cool. It's a little bit old school by now, to be honest. But hey, we've been running this managed hosting platform for 14 years now. And so Chef is pretty much ingrained in our infrastructure, even though, so if you'd ask me, would you still use Chef if you started today? I would say, no, I won't. I would build everything in a cloud native way, using Docker images and things like that. Oh, I could actually talk into the camera. Oh, of course, it's the Swedish Chef. Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. And sometimes I feel like the Swedish Chef as well. I wouldn't use Chef if I started today, but I did not start today. I started 14 years ago, and back then Chef really made sense. Using Chef really made sense, and it still does today. It's just not the most modern or the most hyped technology anymore. Optica, hello to you too. Welcome. And oh, Captain Chica. Sorry. Didn't read that right. Where was I? Yes, Chef. So, Chef is based on Ruby. It's written in Ruby, and even the Chef recipes are actually written in Ruby. So if we go into our _monitoring recipe here, I get an error from NeoVim, which is not nice, but we can do without. So this is actual Ruby, even though Chef basically uses Ruby or hides Ruby behind its custom resources. So for example, I have this execute resource here. If I show you what I'm talking about, this makes even more sense. Here is this execute resource from execute to end here, where I execute a command. When this command gets executed, it creates a notification for another resource, which is the flush privileges resource that enables user permission changes in MySQL, and the execute resource has the action run, which it would have by default anyway. In the first few weeks of using Chef, I wasn't even aware that this is pure, simple Ruby syntax. Because I was using these resources like execute, like package to install stuff, like service to enable services that should run on my Linux machines, things like that. And I wasn't really aware that this was simply Ruby, which gets actually run through a Ruby interpreter. And only after a while, the coin dropped, and I realized, oh, this is Ruby. Well, that's nice. And I started using more Ruby stuff, like, for example, this simple assignment here, where we can use a here doc to create a very long string. And after the definition of that string, I can actually call its strip method to remove all the new lines that would be included, because of course this here doc here has new lines in it. It's a multi-line here doc after all. So this is a very nice way to get a string that's easy to read and does not actually have new lines in there, simply by using this strip method on the string. And at least it removes the final new line, I guess. And I started using Ruby more and more in my recipes, and that means our configuration as code is pretty much imperative, which would make it hard to, say, switch to something declarative like Ansible, for example, because Ansible uses YAML by default as its configuration language, which is perfectly okay, but to port over all the logic that we have in our cookbooks would require us to basically then go and write a lot of Ansible modules, which would then have the imperative parts, and then the Ansible YAML would simply then call these modules and provide them with additional information or something like that. So we would basically have to extract all the business logic from our cookbooks into Ansible modules, and then hopefully have pretty simple Ansible YAMLs that simply goes and calls these modules. So all the business logic would then be extracted into these modules. By now, we are trying to do the same thing in Ruby, actually, because as it turns out, having a lot of imperative code in these recipes makes them really hard to read and hard to maintain. So if we have recipes that have a lot of logic in them, we try and extract that logic into a Ruby library, into a Ruby class, and then simply use this class in our recipes, but all the business logic is nicely contained in another file where we can even run unit tests on the class and things like that. So over time, in some places we went a little bit overboard with including business logic in our recipes, and that basically has the same effect as the PHP pages of old, where you had your HTML pages with lots of PHP interspersed, so a complete mix of imperative PHP code and static HTML. And of course, then people went and started extracting that as well, and switched to frameworks like Laravel, for example, where you have your business logic in one place and templates in another. So we are trying to do the same approach with our infrastructure code as well. But this recipe, for example, is pretty simple. All it does is set up a monitoring user that is actually able to collect all the metrics that a monitoring system needs to have. And there is actually an include recipe, Prometheus Freistyle, which is another one of our company cookbooks, MySQL de-exporter. Which means that the change that I intended to do has already been made. Which is interesting. Shall we do a git blame and find out who made this change? I guess I need to know. Git blame source MySQL-Freistyle recipes _ monitoring. Look at that. I myself made this change back in March, and I did not remember. Okay. So that's already done. What else is missing? Moo says, I think it's only missing from some environment. I think all we have to do is actually use this version of the MySQL Freistyle cookbook in our production and testing environments, and that should then do the trick. The testing environment? might actually have that built in already. Let me take a look, because these environment files might actually contain sensitive stuff. So give me a second while I'll switch into a different tmux session where I can easily take a look at these things. Let's see, if I take a look at least the testing environment. Do we have any constraint? Yes, there is another cookbook, FreistilBox_MySQL, which is the top level cookbook. So this is a whole stack of cookbook dependencies here. MySQL-Freistil, which I was looking at earlier, is our company-specific cookbook that uses our company-specific monitoring and all these things. And the FreistilBox_MySQL cookbook is now specific to our hosting platform. We might be using MySQL elsewhere as well, but there are settings especially for our hosting platform, which is called FreistilBox. And we are using version 6.0 for that. So let's go back to our cookbooks here and go actually back to our editor as well. So if I go here, what version of MySQL Freistil is this? That's, oh God, okay, version. Let's see, there is an error in lsp.log. I'll have to look after that. Yeah, I think I know what that is. Yeah, okay. Version 9. Okay. Let's see. We are using version 6 of FreistilBox MySQL. What is the current version? Oh, wrong file. I wanted to open this one. That's version 6. And it depends on MySQL Freistil version 9. Where this is version 9.3.0. That means the MySQL exporter should be active in our test environment. Let me go and verify that. If I go, I've redefined my keyboard layout once again, and I'm still tripping over that. Let me log into C61-DB-1. And let's do a pgrep MySQL d_exporter, I guess. Oh yes, we do have a MySQL D exporter running in here. Do we have Nginx in front of? Oh yes, okay. Now I know what's missing. We need a scrape job actually. Our Prometheus instance needs to know that there is or are MySQL D exporters that can provide metrics, but they don't provide these metrics by themselves. Prometheus has to go and actually ask them about them. So Prometheus needs to have what's called a scrape job that tells Prometheus, well, ask this MySQL D exporter for its metrics, then ask this one, and then ask another one. And that's what's actually missing. This MySQL D exporter will happily export these metrics if only someone came and asked for them. Let me make sure that the Nginx proxy that we have in front of the MySQL D exporter is actually there as well. Yes, there is a MySQL D exporter configuration, which means, yes, we need to extend our Prometheus configuration to scrape these machines, which is an interesting problem. So far, we had an easy time with our exporters because we could tell Prometheus simply go and ask everyone. because, for example, in case of the node exporter, which exposes generic metrics about CPU load, disk space usage, and things like that, of course, these are metrics that we are interested in for all of our nodes. And so we could tell Prometheus scrape all of our Linux servers, hundreds of them, for these metrics. In terms of the MySQL exporter, of course, the set of servers that need to be scraped is much, much smaller. It's limited to our database servers. And so I need to find a way to actually make this work. And I'll have to take a look at how things are set up so far. Let me grab a sip of water here. And let me check how the Prometheus setup actually works in our system, and I'll do that off screen in order to not expose anything sensitive. Let me go back to the other TMUX session. Let's see, where's Prometheus? Here. Okay. The problem with visiting these things every few weeks means that I always have to look up stuff again, and that's actually pretty annoying. And one thing I need to make sure is to actually update stuff. So for example, the issue that I had been working on up till now needs to be closed with a comment and to not get me off the track again. So I'll do that first. I'll go back to my cookbooks. That did not work. There is commit B33. Let me look up this commit. How do I do this most easily, I guess? We'll go into history. Simply search. No, that did not work. B33 CD. Wait, it's looking for an author here. That's not right. Any author? No, it's not. Don't search by. Here we are. Set up MySQL exporter, and that was 841. So merge request 841. Let me go back to the issue and close this with closed in 841. It's actually blocked by. Wait, what? this is closed. Now this is annoying. Let me show you this. This is the issue that was still open, even though it was actually finished. And there is a blocker issue 904 that is actually closed 2 months ago. And if I try and say closed in merge request 841, it tells me this task is currently blocked by the following items. Well, it's not blocked anymore. This is really confusing. Okay, so this is actually finished. Let's take a look at the milestone here. That's all done. And we have a few more. Implement basic MySQL health check, implement MySQL replication monitoring. Yep, those are blocked. Question is, we can actually close this one too. Prometheus exporter for MySQL is set up. That's the problem with issue management here. Let me research the scrape job definition, and then we'll have more clarity how to deal with this task. Because if it's just the scraping job that needs to be done, I can actually add another child item here and get that done, and then we have more clarity. Okay, I'll try and do that off screen. Let's see. Okay, so we'll probably have to define a Prometheus rule group and then a rule based on this group. But where does the scrape job actually get defined? Let's find out together, shall we? So let me go here down to the Prometheus X cookbook. That's the most basic Prometheus cookbook we have. And where does scraping get set up? That's happening here in prometheus.rb. And as I mentioned earlier, here's an instance, for example, where we've extracted business logic into its own class. There is a Prometheus configuration class that we create here and then can reference for all kinds of stuff. And that makes this recipe much shorter. And all the Prometheus configuration code is actually extracted into this library file here, Prometheus configuration.rb. And here we define the scrape configs, which in turn is based on the scrape configuration class here. So let me take a look at the scrape configuration. Let me see, where does this even start? Initialize simply assigns these variables. Yeah, the scrape configuration needs to be fed from somewhere. The parameters are the most important thing, and then we have a target search that gets executed for this particular scrape configuration. But where does this get set up actually? Here we go through all scrape configs, which are node attributes. Okay, that's good to know. Node attributes are values. That's basically a key value database or a key value document or a hash. If we take it this way, it's a hash that's assigned to a specific node, and a chef node is basically a server. So every server has this hash of node attributes assigned to it. Some of these key value pairs it shares with other nodes. Some are very individual, and there is, for example, in this hash a namespace called Prometheus, and under that there's a key called scrape configs, and this key then contains even more hashes, and each of these hash keys has another scrape configuration, and then we create this scrape configuration instance with the value that's assigned to this particular scrape configuration. Okay, that makes sense, which means it's all hidden in node attributes. Interesting. I'll have to... Wait, you can't see anything. Why don't you tell me? Switch to the wrong scene, actually.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Even more, I do appreciate your follow, Jax. Despite my stream failure here, I mean, I've been only doing this streaming thing for 6 or 7 years, so why would I know anything about it? Thanks for the follow. There is actually a viewer redemption, a can't see, that you can use if I screw up like this again. Or rather, when I screw up like this again. Okay, I'll go back and take a look at my node attributes, which will definitely contain sensitive stuff. So I'll have to shut you out again. Apologies for that. Let me see. That is probably part of the environment, isn't it? It's not. Huh. Did we assign this to specific hosts instead of... Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It doesn't actually make sense to be in the environment because a chef environment affects all servers, and the Prometheus configuration, of course, only needs to be part of our Prometheus servers, which is one server per environment, testing environment, production environment, only 2 servers there need to have this configuration. No need to deploy this configuration to hundreds of servers that can't do anything with it. So I've been looking at the completely wrong part of our infrastructure. Okay. What are you pondering, the Loman? So, PCI DSS, I did hear of it. I was responsible for the payment gateway for a multinational firm back in my corporate IT manager days. We did our own payment processing, so PCI DSS still triggers PTSD for me. Thank you very much. No, it doesn't. But why are you asking? And for everyone not in the know, PCI DSS is basically the standard and the regulations around payment processing that every company that actually does payment processing, that deals with credit card numbers and all these things, needs to adhere to. Otherwise, no credit card company in the world will do business with them. So that's what PCI DSS is about. Someone's knocking at my door, which might be urgent, so give me a short minute to deal with that. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit queasy and a little bit proud because my 11-year-old is going to take the bus by himself for the first time today. Going to swimming lessons. I'm doing my live stream. My wife is at work, so he has to take care of things himself. And so he's off for the first time, unaccompanied, taking the bus. Let's hope he'll arrive where he wants to go. We'll see about that in a few hours' time, I guess. All right, so let's try and solve the mystery of the missing scrape configuration. The Loman asked about PCI DSS. And asks, is it applied to all apps, no matter the size, or only the ones that have many users? I think even if you only want to process one single credit card payment, you need to adhere to PCI DSS. And by processing, I mean actually dealing with the credit card company. PCI DSS usually only applies to businesses like Stripe or Braintree or PayPal, who actually take number of the customer and then do payment processing with the credit card company, with Visa, with MasterCard. So they have to actually store credit card information, for example. They have to store the full credit card number and all your authentication details and things like that. And if you do that, you need to meet the DSI, the PCI DSS standards. If you are just a business doing payment processing using the Stripe API, using the PayPal API, you usually don't have to deal with PCI DSS at all. You're not supposed to store anything. That's why APIs like Stripe work in a way where you don't actually touch customer data. For example, if you do payment processing using Stripe, the Stripe JavaScript that you include creates its own form where the customer enters their credit card number and stuff like that. What the customer enters is submitted directly to Stripe, doesn't go through your system at all. It goes from the customer's browser directly to Stripe, not via your website. So you don't even see the full credit card number. And that way you are absolved from using or from having to deal with PCI DSS. And Stripe will only provide you with the final 4 digits of the credit card number for support purposes and things like that. You are not supposed to ever see the full credit card number the customer enters to purchase your stuff. You are making an e-commerce app and have to make it PCI DSS compliant? Don't do that. PCI DSS is a huge pain in the ass. It requires you to meet all kinds of standards. It means you have to do regular, at least yearly audits by an external security firm who then will certify that you are meeting all the standards, that you're not storing customer information in an improper way, that you have all the security measures in place that are required for that. This is pages and pages of standards. So only companies that seriously deal with payment data, like Stripe, do these kinds of things. But I don't see why you would have to deal with PCI DSS in the first place, because if you build an e-commerce app, you simply use the API of a payment provider like Stripe. While they need to deal with all the hassle that is PCI DSS, you don't. Because, as I tried to describe, customer information, payment information doesn't touch your systems in the first place. The process from your side is simply, here, customer, here's the Stripe form, enter your credit card number here, and then your website will twiddle its thumbs until it gets the clear from Stripe, yep, we processed the payment data, payment went through, it's all okay, and then you do your e-commerce transaction, whatever that is. So Stripe does everything for you, and you don't have to do anything in particular in terms of certification or audits and all these things. You're not supposed to process credit card information yourself. That would be insane. Now, again, scraping information. I need to take a look at my testing server, my Prometheus server, knife node, show, Prometheus. That's not enough, so I need a -L in there and then put that into less. Now Prometheus. Here we go. Alright, so let me see. Where are the Prometheus jobs? What do I have to look for? Scrape configs. Okay. Scrape _ configs. Here we are. By default, it's empty. That doesn't really help me. Here we are. So there is a scrape configuration for the node exporter with a static search that gets all the machines that are in our testing environment. And yes, this time I'm aware that I'm not showing my screen because among all these information, there's definitely sensitive stuff that I can't show you. Then we have the ping scrape job that also takes the whole chef environment. There's the Prometheus scrape job. That is a static list with only our Prometheus server with localhost in it. Okay, makes sense. There is an SSH scrape job that uses the black box exporter to also test all our machines in the testing environment. So what we have to do
It's a Unix system. I know this.
is welcome Esnom among our followers. Welcome. And define a new scrape job using a static search. And the question is, what are we going to search for? What are we going to search for? Well, that is not too hard to answer, because basically we want to scrape all machines that use this recipe. We can do a chef search that returns all machines that actually execute the _ monitoring recipe in the MySQL FreeStyle cookbook. Actually, we could simply search for all machines that use the MySQL FreeStyle cookbook in the first place, because it doesn't really matter which recipe. No, that's not true. There is a client recipe. So if you just search for all the machines that use this cookbook, we will probably get lots of machines returned, because many of our machines use the MySQL client, but those aren't the machines that we need to scrape for monitoring metrics. Actually, it makes sense to search for all the machines in our current environment, for example, the testing environment, that use this recipe. And I think we can put this to the test by actually executing such a search by hand. I can actually do a knife search node where we look in recipes for MySQL-FreeStyle /::/ chef_monitoring, and chef_environment is testing 13. And let's only get the host names. Yep, that worked. So only our 2 testing database servers here get returned, and that makes perfect sense. So that is actually going to be the search that we need. And my phone's ringing, lots of family stuff going on today. I'll be right back. And back. Okay, now the search for the machines that we need to scrape. That was my daughter, actually, and her boyfriend arriving at home, not having a key. Let's hope for less interruptions in the next few minutes. But knowing my luck, it's going probably my phone's going to ring in a few minutes' time, and then it'll go. It's going to be my son telling me that he took the completely wrong bus and ended up somewhere where he needs to be picked up or something. Oh dear, let's see. So if you are ever annoyed by all the serenity that you have, if you have too much peace in your life, then consider getting kids. Okay, so the identifying the machines that we need to scrape is the easier part of the scrape job, but now we need to find out how to define the scrape job that Prometheus actually gets the proper metrics, and we'll have to look this up. We'll look for MySQL exporter scrape job. Let's see. There is a blog entry, but maybe let's go to the origin, which is actually not on the first page of these results. How odd. Did I write? No, it's MySQL exporter. Well, let's see if this search result does actually help us in any way. Is there a scrape job? No, there. Why is it there? So this is never going to work here. This is much too simple. The thing is with Prometheus is you hand Prometheus a list of targets that it needs to scrape, but then it also needs to replace stuff in the results that this exporter returns, and I think that's much too simple. Let's see. How about this link? That's also not what I'm looking for, but this makes more sense that we have this relabel configs section here, because the address that Prometheus scrapes needs to be stored in the instance label with the metric that gets returned. So this makes sense. It's still not what I'm looking for, but let's actually remove this and simply go for MySQL DExporter. And that's not what I'm looking for either. There needs to be a GitHub repository with that, isn't there? Or did this drop off the earth? This looks more like it. Okay, now let's see. Here we have a proper scrape configuration. What this does is it defines the targets that Prometheus is supposed to scrape. So this is server 1 port 3306 and then server 2 3306. And Prometheus then simply goes through the list of targets here and needs to contact them. Question is, how does it do that? Because that's simply the list of MySQL instances that need to be scraped. But it's not Prometheus that does the actual connection to the MySQL port 3306 here. That's the MySQL DExporter running on the actual database machine that needs to connect to MySQL, grab all the metrics, and then return them to Prometheus. So Prometheus actually needs to contact server 1 here, but on a completely different port, and then it needs to store the metrics or pass in server 1 3306 to the MySQL DExporter itself. So this one then can actually ask MySQL. And that's why we have this relabel configs block here, where it says, okay, take the source label of the address and store it in the target label __ param target. So what it does is it stores server 1 3306 in the label param target, which is one of the parameters that get passed to the MySQL DExporter. So the MySQL DExporter actually gets a target query parameter that says server 1 3306. And that makes sense because the MySQL DExporter needs to be told which target it's supposed to scrape. Actually, we might even want to replace the server name in the target with localhost, because since every MySQL DExporter runs on the same host as the database, all of these MySQL DExporters simply need to talk to localhost. So that might be something that we need to do there. Prometheus needs to contact server 1, the MySQL DExporter, but the MySQL DExporter in turn simply needs to talk to localhost. The next relabeling that happens is now we are taking param target, which we've just defined, and write it to the instance label. And this instance label then will be added to all the metrics that get returned. So we can actually identify to which instance, to which server this metric belongs. That's the default label that gets added to every metric that Prometheus collects at all. All metrics that get collected from a specific host have the host name in the instance. And then the third and last step here is that we take the target label address, which we'll replace with localhost 9104. And that's specific to this example here, because the address that Prometheus needs to talk to is actually running on localhost. So in this example here, they're running the MySQL exporter on the Prometheus machine, and Prometheus then simply talks to localhost port 9104 to access the MySQL exporter, and MySQL exporter itself then talks to the target parameter, which contains server 1 3306, and next time over it contains server 2 3306, and next time over it even contains a MySQL socket, which means there is a local MySQL instance as well. Interesting setup here. And it's not actually the one that we are using. But that's multi-target support. Maybe we don't need multi-target support in the first place. Single exporter mode. Here we simply call MySQL exporter with specific flags. Oh, we have another ad running. All right. Okay, let me copy one of our existing configurations into a file that I can then use to define our specific relabeling. I'll shut you out for a second. How do I grab this configuration? I need to grab it from the node itself. So something like this. Let me write that to temp file. And let me open that in a different editor. Okay, something like this. Okay, I think that's that. Is there anything sensitive in here? No, doesn't look like it. Okay. Okay, so that's the current configuration where we have multiple scrape configurations. And which one are we going to copy? I think we can orient ourselves with the SSH scrape job here, where we do actually relabel our configurations. We replace the server name with any port with the actual server name and port 22. That's what we need for SSH, of course. We'll then replace... That's interesting. Somehow this YAML this should be an array, shouldn't it? Anyway, it's readable. So we take the address and store that in the param target label, which results in a target query parameter that gets added to the HTTP requests that Prometheus is sending to the target node. We'll take the param target then and write that to instance. And then we have a replacement where we actually write localhost 9115, which is the black box exporter, to the address target label, which is the address that Prometheus is actually... No, that the black box exporter is actually going to talk to. No, it's actually the address that Prometheus is going to talk to, because the black box exporter is running on the Prometheus machine itself. So we talk to we are actually talking to localhost in this case. So what do we now have to do here? We'll have something like a MySQL scrape job. Where we'll have to do target discovery using a static underscore search. Our target query for this search is going to be chef environment is testing 13, and the recipes key contains MySQL dash Freistyle underscore monitoring. That will return all the nodes that have this particular recipe, and this is by definition only our database servers. Is there a metrics path? I don't think so. We'll have to find out. Metrics path might be something like /metrics. We'll have to look that up in the MySQL D exporter. Is there an example? I mean, we can always simply try and connect to it using curl, and then we'll probably see which path we need to call. But we'll leave that for later. More importantly, we need to have the relabel configs block, which is always the most complex thing in defining a Prometheus configuration. So what do we need to do? Let's take a look at up here, the ping. No, ping isn't good. I guess we'll need to have something like the node exporter one. There's simply a target port, 19100, which has to be the port of our MySQL D exporter. But we'll also need a target address, but that gets returned by our target query. So is all we have to do a target port there? And a scrape interval? How strange. Let me think about that. Do we even have to relabel stuff? I think it would be a good idea to either spin up a test instance with a database and the MySQL D exporter, or we could simply use one of our test databases to do that. And actually, there is a database that we already have open here, isn't there? So if we go to here, we are already on our test database. Question is, which port is the MySQL D exporter running on? I think that's the 9104 here. Let's see if that works. Localhost 9104. Yep. There is the Prometheus exporter, and that does actually here point us to /metrics. So I was right about that.
System. I know this.
Mtzak, welcome to the stack. That even rhymes. Alright, here we have lots of metrics, which are actually the right metrics. So that's our MySQL server here. Nice. So, okay. So we can actually... simply connect to our MySQL D exporter. It might be more simple than I anticipated. Huh. No relabeling at all? No relabeling at all, since the MySQL D exporter runs locally. That could actually work. Okay, which port do I expose though? We since the MySQL D exporter doesn't have any kind of authorization or something like that. As you saw, I could simply access port 9104 here. I can't simply expose the MySQL D exporter to the internet and to our own servers. And that's why we have Nginx proxies in front of these exporters that actually do IP-based access control. Only our Prometheus servers can actually access things. I'm not sure if this has sensitive stuff in there. I don't think it has, but let's be safe. That's Nginx sites enabled. MySQL D exporter. It's 19104. So it's just a 1 in front, a 19104, which should then proxy everything. And it'll only allow our Prometheus server. All right, this looks good. Let me then go ahead and log into our Prometheus server. Prometheus. If I can write Prometheus correctly. And let's see if I can curl. That's actually HTTPS. Port 19104 / metrics. That did not work. Why not? It did not work because yes, okay, wrong part, okay. Okay, so all we need to do here is, just like we do up here for the node exporter, define a target port. Interesting. And let's then add that, say, here, underscore target port. And that's going to be 19104. And we'll query the / metrics path. And we'll need a scrape interval. And I guess having that every 10 seconds is okay. Scrape interval 10 seconds. And that actually might be all we need to do. Interesting. This was much easier because I was expecting to having that we'll need all these relabel configs, but those we only need if the exporter doesn't run on the target machine. But on the same machine as our Prometheus server, the central monitoring instance. And then we'll have to rewrite everything that we can actually talk to localhost. However, the exporter service running on localhost then needs to go to talk to something else outside of localhost, and that's why we need all these relabelings. Since we installed a node exporter, or a MySQL exporter to be precise, and also a node exporter on every machine, on all the relevant machines, our scrape configuration is much more simple. Nice. Okay. Now, I guess I'll go and add that to our actual setup. And we'll see if Prometheus is going to start adding MySQL metrics to its database. But before that, I think we might actually take a short break and might actually do this after this stream anyway, because I'll have to do it in private, and that's always going to be a little bit boring for you if I have to shut you out all the time. But what we can do together is to play a little round of Words on Stream, can't we? Let's go and do that. Our previous record was level 15, but in recent past we never got even close to that. So let's see how this works. If you're not familiar with the rules of the game, you simply take the letters that appear on screen and then you'll build your own words. Hey, Balthazar! I mean, you don't have to take part. You don't have to immediately climb to the leaderboard, as you always do. Keep lurking so everyone else has a much better chance of leading the pack. But yeah, sometimes we really can use your help. So yeah, you get a bunch of letters, you build words with them. Every letter can only be used once. Enter your solutions in chat. If you get a hit, then you'll be locked out for a few seconds until the timeline has passed the lock symbol, and then you can participate again. That keeps people like Balthazar from grabbing all the glory. And so at a later stage, there will be fake letters that actually can't be used, and we'll have to find out which letter is the fake letter. But that's not going to happen until we are in the game for a while. So let's get started and simply add your solutions in chat. And that's already a great start. What is that even? And as you can see, we need to have at least 4-letter words here. Like mice, for example. Icy is... Oh, no, yeah, icy is written without the E. But we always have. Otherwise, I need to wait until I'm... Oh, I'm not locked anymore. Good. How nice. Let's see. What do we do about the Y? Yeah, as I said, we're off to a great start. Well done. Wait, isn't House about lupus all the time? Chimney, that's the word. All right, but we are still not over the line here. 62 or 72. I mean, you're right, it's never lupus, but I don't recall any episode where it was the hymen. Well, TIL, I guess. Come on, let's give this another try. What? Okay, my brain is much too fried, which might also be because quirk. Okay, there are two more words that are even longer than that. I'm blanking completely. My brain has completely shut off at the moment. What? I'm completely useless. Quicker, of course. See? Balthazar to the rescue. Well, at least we've cleared level 1 there. It's not cuisine. Nope, the word building part of my brain has shut off completely. I'm lucky that I can still talk. I'm just staring at letters blankly. But we're almost there. Yeah, plurals are always a good way to get points. Maybe I should focus on that. Asmodeed. Okay, level 3. Can fight Pete, given that I live in Ireland. Too few letters for aptitude. Which I don't have, apparently. Latte, nice. Dated. Okay. And updated, of course. Nice. Slowly but surely. Not the bees! Bytes. Ah, interesting. Yeah, this combination is much more kind. This is a more honorable win. Not quite cut as close as the previous ones. Okay, let's see if we can keep it up. Interesting. Wherever. So this is a word after all. I always split it up in 2 words. Nice. Cross the line at halftime. Whee! I can see. Not having enough sleep last night has its is starting to have its consequences. The Firefox video? Okay. That gets us to level 5, doesn't it? 2 levels, level 6. Let's go. Firefox video? Okay. Now there's a fake letter, and it's probably the X or something, but let's find out. It's not the X. Okay. But flex didn't work, so I guess it's the L. Interesting. No, it can't be the L. Is it the E? No. Huh? What? It's the F. The F is the fake letter. Wow. Okay. I mean, if the F is the fake letter, that means face doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. Aw, level 8. Okay, that does it. Still, level 8 is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, Balthazar did a great job, and well, the other 3 of us did too. Well done, everyone. Okie doke. Yeah, me too, Balthazar, me too. I spent all my brain juice on all kinds of stuff. And getting interrupted all the time didn't help either, so yeah, whatever. Very important, here we have a video. Let me... I am still in game mode, which means I can actually watch this with sound. Let's copy the address here. Let's open this here, paste this there. Whatever.
Shut up!
Periods have no chill.
Oh dear.
Day.
Escape. All right. Yeah, I remember seeing that earlier, but I had already forgotten about it, and yeah, it's still funny. With that, I think we are at a good point to wrap things up. And let's see if there's anyone who we can raid. Shari Makes Art raided us earlier. The Internet Explorer, we as a sample. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Whee! I mean, yeah, the Internet Explorer icon has a lot of fun with its satellite comet, I guess. Firefox came over a little bit grumpy for some reason. Let me see. Back to Twitch. Bing bong. Let's switch that back on. Da, 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 da. Yeah. What you mean was? Not elitism is still alive and kicking. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to raid Layla Codes It. Haven't raided Layla in quite a while. I'm not sure if she was offline for a while, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. So everyone, if you'd like to keep chatting in between streams, then join our Discord server. I'll be back on Thursday afternoon with probably more infrastructure as code. Maybe we'll also do a little bit of Dragon Ruby, because yeah, I'm very happy to report that Amir Rajan, the inventor of Dragon Ruby, stopped by the Discord server and also my YouTube channel to say hello and how much he enjoyed watching me building my simulation on the Dragon Ruby game toolkit. So that was really great. Validation for the win. And we might be actually doing something like that again on Thursday. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock UTC, we are going to have our first community hot seat where a member of the server room, my DevOps community of practice, is going to have a call, and one of our members has volunteered to present us with something, with a project they'd like our feedback on, and that's what we're going to do. We'll give them a little bit of helpful feedback. That's one of the perks that you get when you become a member of the server room. Lots of other events as well. Check out the page. Oh, I actually pressed the wrong button. That's the community link here. The serverroom.sh. Check it out, and if you'd like to support my work and get a lot of value back in return, I think a membership is a great way to achieve both goals. So that's it for today. We're going to raid Layla Codes It. Let me see. Not in the list, but that shouldn't be hard to find. Let's start the raid. Thanks everyone for stopping by. This was fun, and I hope to see you soon. Until next time, take care.